Podcast.
Wow, it's so hard, isn't it? Sometimes it can feel like a unicorn that you're trying to chase, and that is to find and hire the right personality for the right role. Hey everybody, Scott Beebe with the Business on Purpose podcast, our YouTube channel. Hey, make sure to go check us out and subscribe. We've got a great YouTube channel. We're putting up content just about every week. You can like us on Facebook at My Business on Purpose, and also, of course, the Business on Purpose podcast, which some of you are listening to us on. And so make sure you go there and subscribe, rate, and review as well. One of these big things that I mentioned was that unicorn of trying to find and hire the right people, and it can be really hard. So I want you to come with me down the yellow brick road of small business job hiring. It sounds so easy at the beginning when the road looks golden and opportunistic, and soon we see that the road becomes impassable and it's in bad need of repair. And we're convinced that there is some sort of magic trick to finding and hiring the right people. Just post something on Indeed or LinkedIn, or maybe it's the local chamber where we can start to hunt for that right person. Hiring and onboarding has become a dysfunctional mess as life has gotten busier and busier. So what I thought we would do is slow everything down, think very logically through the people challenge that you will face as a business owner all the time. In fact, just this morning, I called a local chimney sweep company and asked the guy on the phone, I said, hey, when can one of your crew members come over and service our chimney? His response, he said, that's just me. My immediate thought was, bro, we've got to hire somebody. Then I stopped my own emotional response, and I realized it's really hard to find and motivate great people to do great work, especially when it's hard work. So when hiring, we've got to consider and articulate the exact job role, the individual task of that role, the expectations, the task that you keep versus the task that you delegate, and all the other things that go with it. It's complex. It requires real thought and real work. And when we hired our first business coach, Thomas Joyner, it took us about 8 months to go through the entire hiring process. But there's one thing that gets overlooked regularly in the hiring process, and it's personality fit. Now, over the past 6 years or so, we've facilitated almost 1,000 DISC personality profile assessments. And the trends are very obvious and extraordinary. So we can look back across all that data and start to see all of these trends. If someone is not a personality fit for a role, it usually takes about 3 to 6 months before the misalignment rears its ugly head, and both the owner and the new hire feel uncomfortable and start to feel a little bit irritable, honestly. And then the accusations start to fly. Oh my gosh, they're so horrible at their role. Or the key leader might say, well, this owner has no idea what he's doing. Or they might say, ugh, if I ran my house like they run their business, we'd be broke. Or you as an owner might feel this way. For goodness sakes, it's just easier if I do it myself. You know, the reality is it doesn't have to be that way. There are 4 major personalities in this world that I think we've got to look at, and we can get some objective data around these to help make better hires and to help find better fits for the roles that we have. The first of these 4 is what we call the driver. And this came from the DISC profile, mid-1920s, I believe it was, and has been around with us since. Very, very influential and helpful profile setup. So you've got the driver. Then, of course, you've got the mighty I, the influencer. These are the folks that really are pretty well aligned to sales. Then you've got the steady personality, the S, and the C is the compliant personality. Now, one thing we've got to understand, there's not many driver personalities in the world. Have you ever heard this? You walk around, you talk to somebody, and they're like, I'm high D, I'm all D, I'm high D, and they keep telling you there's all this, they've got all this drive in them. You're not quite mean. Well, the reality is there's not many drivers. In fact, only about 3%. And they're primarily mostly comfortable with owning a business or pushing for top-line results. The influencers, on the other hand, are only about 11%, not many of those as well. So only about 11% of the population have the natural disposition, kind of this intrinsic desire to go influence the rest of us to part with our money for their product. And then you've got that C at the top left there, the compliant personality. And these are the CPAs and the project managers, the engineers, and are more available than influencers, but not by much. Around 17% of the population geek out on a regular basis over accuracy and numbers. But then you've got the steady personality. 69%, the majority of society that shows up every day, day after day, and they enjoy the predictable base hits of bookkeeping, data entry, customer service, and task completion, all packaged in a can't everybody just get along type of culture. So if you have an influencer trying to spend their days in front of a computer typing away at data entry, it's going to be a recipe for frustration. And if you're a compliant or a C personality and you're being asked to be a self-starter, then you're just cooking up disappointment. We use these famous phrases like internally motivated, self-starter, detail-oriented, and then we wonder why that steady personality who loves people and relationships struggles with getting the numbers to reconcile. They don't really draw energy from being detail-oriented. So if you're hiring a salesperson and they don't have some level of influencer in their personality, then don't get frustrated when they don't close deals. It's just not who they've been built to be. Could they do it? Yeah, they could be trained to do it, but it's going to take a lot more effort and energy, and the return's probably not going to be as good. We have a misconception that personality profiling is the touchy-feely stuff that's extra and unnecessary, and yet it's the most objective feedback we can receive when trying to genuinely discern fitting the right person into right role. Certainly, hold that phone interview and the live in-person interviews. You need those critical data points. Equally critical is answering the question, what gives this person energy? And who is this person under pressure and stress? When you can begin to see into the person rather than just what your eyeballs or that resume tells you, then you can really begin to fit the right person into the right role at the right time, on the right bus, headed in the right destination. The DISC personality profile can help you do that. Now, you're just in time if you're listening to this live. We've actually got a webinar on this starting tomorrow. So this will be Tuesday, September 30th, check that, Tuesday, September 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And if you just go to bopwebinar.com, we'll also put a link down in this below, and you can check out this live webinar. It's going to be a live webinar. We're going to walk through all the details, top to bottom, of the DISC personality profiles, and also we'll handle live Q&A to where if you bring us what type of role that you're looking to fit, we can give you a general idea of where they best fit on that DISC personality continuum. And so you can start to understand where they plot out on those graphs. And I think it'd be very, very helpful for you. So head on over to bopwebinar.com, sign up for that free webinar. It's going to be live tomorrow. Now, we will have it on replay later on, and you can check that out. And I think you'll really, really enjoy the ability to be able to see what are the right personality fits for these roles that I'm looking for in my business. Some of you just need to get to the point where you actually consider hiring somebody, and this will give you a lot more confidence in being able to do it. All right, so remember, go subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on the podcast, on the Business on Purpose podcast. It would be our delight to be able to join you there. And you can check out all the content that we've got in our effort and ambition to help liberate you from the chaos of working in your business. And one more little thing, go check out mybusinessonpurpose.com/free. You get 28 days for free through our world-changing Business on Purpose roadmap. I think you'll really enjoy that. So dive in, and we'll see you next time right here on the Business on Purpose YouTube channel, podcast, and Facebook Live.